show we have on our channel here. We are doing a Big Brother 2 rewatch, aptly called previously on Big Brother 2 for now. I'm joined by two of our co-hosts here at Super Reality Fam. We have Luke and we have Kassie. Guys,
Hey
how are you?
guys.
Hey guys, nice to talk again. Super pumped about this new adventure.
Yeah. I also, before we got on, was just saying multiple times how excited I am. We just wanted to go around real quick and give our experience levels on Big Brother. So maybe Kassie and I are probably the least experienced, and Luke is going to do a little bit of a moderating job for us throughout this experience. So what we'll end up doing is probably, every week posting a little update on where we are in Big Brother 2, probably like a 3-part type thing. We're giving our pre-impressions and then our post-impressions of the season. So just as a little note liner, we did watch the first week of content, so the first 4 episodes of Big Brother 2. Me and Kassie took notes on what we thought certain superlatives of sorts would be from this season. And we also did our sort of like boot list of where we think it will go. So maybe if you want to go in order, Kassie, what is your experience with Big Brother as a whole?
Yeah, so I have like literally zero experience. I'm a big Survivor fan, and I feel like a lot of times those fan bases overlap quite a bit. So I felt like it was kind of this missing piece of mine. So literally, I've never seen the show. I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of Big Brother 1 like a week or two ago because I was curious about it, but I like don't know any of the rules. I like don't know typically what strategies are like. All I have to go off of is like what happens in Survivor, which I guess strategies like probably overlap a little bit, but it's really quite tough to say. So I don't know anything. So I'm excited to kind of discover like rules and new strategies and new twists and stuff that pop up as they go along.
Mm-hmm. And Luke, would you be mad if I hit you over the head with the same question?
No, I would love to talk. That's what I'm here to do, is talk about Big Brother. So yeah, the first season of Big Brother that I watched was Big Brother 15, which I loved. I found out about it from a friend from school, and I think my oldest sister had watched it too, and they both told me that I would like it. So I started watching Big Brother 15, and I'd never seen Survivor before. So basically, after Big Brother 15 ended, I went back and just like binge watched like all the other seasons with one of my sisters, and it was I kind of watched them in a weird order. But then after that, that's when I got into Survivor. So it's kind of fun that Kassie gets to start from Big Brother 2 with Big Brother, because I started Survivor from Borneo. So even though I watched it years after the fact, I got to watch it chronologically for the most part and kind of see the evolution of the game. But yeah, so I'm a massive Big Brother fan, and obviously I'm a fan of Survivor 2, but Big Brother was my first love.
And I am somewhere in the middle because I've seen the show. I've seen Big Brother 21, which we'll get into of some picks of why I made where I think people would go in this season. And I've also seen Big Brother 10. Just knowing that it was a good season to get started. I used to watch it when I went to the gym my last semester of college, just while I was doing cardio. And I would just binge watch episodes of Big Brother 10. So besides that, those are the only 2 seasons I think I have watched. And I don't know any of the winners besides Big Brother 21 and Big Brother 10. Maybe actually Big Brother 20, because I know who wins that. But besides that, really going into it close to a blank slate. I'm also, of course, a super fan of Survivor. So I'm really excited to get some new strategy and see how the strategy plays out and evolves in Big Brother. I think this is really awesome. So I'm so excited. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, so I want to back up for a second and just lay out some guidelines for the podcast. So because Pat and I do not know what happens for the most part in any of the episodes, this is like a spoiler-free zone. So even though Luke knows what's going on, we're going to be making guesses and making predictions, even if those end up being like totally crazy wrong. We're just going to like try our best. The other thing I want to back up and talk about is the fact that when you binge watch episodes, you're doing cardio, and I'm just like sitting on my couch. So very different between you and me. But
yeah, I mean, now
I appreciate the productivity.
Yeah, because definitely my last semester of college, I might have actually seen. Okay, there might have been 2 seasons I watched because I did binge a different one, but that's far down the line. They're definitely in the teens somewhere. And once we get to that point months from now, we can go into that. But yeah, so it was just something like I don't know. I would be at the gym and I weightlift, but I hate doing cardio, hate it. And for me, I was like, what can get me so juiced up? And I looked up like the best Big Brother season, which I think like as a caveat, I think that's awful. Like I should have started with like a mid of the line season. I shouldn't start with like the GOAT season or like the one that people constantly call the best. But now I'm excited to go back during quarantine, especially. And we don't know where Big Brother, if it's going to premiere in the fall, maybe in the winter. We don't know when it's going to come back. If it can even happen in the summer, that'd be great. But just because we do content here for Survivor, but it's so much more fun to join a new world and see what's up with it. So yeah, even though I'm not running on a treadmill when I'm binging these episodes anymore, I appreciate the dichotomy between the two of us.
Yeah. All right. So we can get started. So I guess just to summarize what happened in each of the episodes. So the first episode, we kind of get to meet the cast, see them all in their hometowns, and then everybody gets to the Big Brother house. What'd you think, Pat?
I found it interesting because they're all fighting for beds, which in my head I'm like, okay, like that's an interesting. I would find that like to be like a twist of sorts. Like they'd be like, ooh, one person has a cot, one person has like a bed. And I think doesn't Kent get the cot? Is that what it is?
Kent got literally the floor. He didn't even get a cot.
Yeah.
I mean, people got screwed over just based on like how they entered the house, which was totally out of their control. So it's kind of just like, one of those four was bound to be sleeping on the floor.
Right. Yeah. The four that went in last were totally screwed and already like. And I was thinking the whole time, like some of these beds are like at least full size beds. Like you should be, trying to share with those people that are sleeping on the floor, which we find out later that people were certainly sharing beds.
Yeah, and I agree, and
we'll
especially
later,
and especially in this season. So, not to just like shoot too far ahead, but so people do have a little bit of showmance or trying to have showmances, and I agree. Like, I think a really big advantage that you don't realize out of this disadvantage is if you two are single and you both prefer like the same gender that you're attracted to, it's interesting enough to be like, well, why don't we stay in the same bed? Which I guess maybe that's too forward to be like, hey, I just met you, let's get in the same bed. Could definitely be a little controversy there if someone's not on board for that. But it's definitely cool that we see some people that literally, I didn't even think of it. Doesn't he just barely get a blanket? Like, is he just on the ground with his like bag?
I think he gets like a sleeping bag and a pillow, and that's it.
And I wrote this down when I was watching it. I was like, just was like my first gut instinct. I would vote out the person with the biggest bed if it was down to two people, because like I don't have a bed if I'm Kent, and like,
right, like, or at least vote out somebody that is twin size bed or higher on the bed hierarchy. Like you don't want to vote somebody out that literally is sleeping on a cot, because then you upgrade from the floor to a cot. Like that's better, I guess, but it's still pretty shitty.
It's not the best, and it reminds me of Animal Crossing. Me and Cass both play a lot of Animal Crossing, but you don't even start with a sleeping bag. You start with this rinky-dink bed, which I still have, by the way, because I couldn't get all the items to get the real bed, and then you get a sleeping bag from the store, which costs a lot in the beginning game, and then you have to make a bed. So you have to go from this bed hierarchy. I know this isn't a big plot point of the season, but that's definitely where my head would be if I was on Big Brother 2 back in the early 2000s.
Well, and you have to also think, like if you go, like we were talking about sharing a bed and like people feeling comfortable with that, but you also have to be worried about like other people's perceptions of you. Like if we've learned anything from Survivor, it's that perception is reality. And if people perceive you guys as being close because you're sharing a bed, like Boston Rob, I think it was one season, was like, if you want to know where the true alliances stand, like look where people are sleeping at night and who they're sleeping next to. Mm-hmm. And, so I feel like that kind of carries over a little bit. And I'm not sure if, like if you look at Survivor too, it's like not even really like there isn't really strategy involved in, the gameplay quite yet so much, so it's interesting. Like I'm interested to see how it is on like Big Brother too, if like strategy isn't like fully fleshed out yet.
Yeah, that's something that I was actually thinking a lot about as I, was rewatching these episodes, is I looked up exactly, when did this air in relation to Survivor? So at the point that Big Brother 2 aired, Borneo and Australian Outback had both, aired in completion. So it is interesting to think like that was probably the biggest frame of reference these people had going into the house. But what really distinguishes Big Brother from Survivor is that there's not two tribes, in both of the first two seasons of Survivor and really the first three seasons. The tribe that gets the majority in the beginning of the game ends up, having the last people standing are the people from that majority tribe.
Right.
So that's the great thing about Big Brother is that the strategy is just not that straightforward. Like it's not just going to be based off of arbitrary lines that production establishes preseason. Like people have to make alliances based off of just personalities, because there aren't those, dividing lines just based off of something out of their control.
100%. And that's definitely something interesting to think about. Also, the fact that the cast is pretty small. I don't know if it gets bigger. I don't really remember from 21. But it's definitely interesting to see that there's only 12 people. And we do lose 2 people in this round of voting because no one of them got booted. But still, like, it's a quick game, it seems like, and it looks like it takes a while they're in the game. It looks like it's a lot of time is passing with a lot of not that much strategy, which might be why when we get into it, we see a lot of people getting bored almost and just wanting to fight.
I mean, that's a huge difference between Survivor and Big Brother if we're comparing the two. I mean, like, living with somebody for 3 months is very different. I mean, 39 days is a long time, especially when you're living like out in the wilderness. But I mean, 3 months is a long time. Like, I would imagine, with Survivor, especially if it's pre-merge, or like maybe there's a swap, like this person's annoying me, but they're not a good player, so I'm going to keep them around. Like maybe there's a swap, or like there's a merge and I can kind of like stay away from them. But in the Big Brother house, there like aren't that many places to go. There's not places to hide. There are only 12 people, so if you like are really annoying, like Kent, I was like, man, Kent, you're like really getting on some people's nerves. Like, please stop.
Yes.
Including my nerves, to be fair. But
yes, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like they're going to be, I'm predicting, one of my first predictions here, that there are going to be more boots based off of quality of life in the house than there are. I mean, in Survivor early seasons, I guess that's the case too. But 3 months is just a long time to spend with people.
Ridiculous time. It's a serious chunk of your life. It's like being in a semester of college, but you can't leave your dorm.
Exactly.
It's wild. It's really wild.
Yeah. Well, Kassie, since you brought up Kent, I would just love to go through each of the cast members and just see what your guys' first impressions was based off of the cast. We did that in the first episode. We had that great segment of everybody sitting down, kind of doing a group chat, introducing themselves. So why don't we go through, and why don't we just start with, I think, who the person with the biggest arc over these 4 episodes, Nicole. What do you guys think of Nicole from these first 4 episodes of Big Brother?
If I can be honest, I think I wouldn't like her off the bat, and for no reason. I think we would get along outside of the house, but inside of the house, I could see her being, and I don't know if they go this far along, but I could see her being someone that gets taken pretty far in the game, just because she seems unliked for the most part. But what you do notice as this first week goes on is you see her, especially I just rewatched the Justin eviction, not eviction, but kick out, and she's doing a diary room confessional with Cheryl before Cheryl gets voted out. So it's interesting to me that she's digging her feet into this social game and really making some moves. And as a person, at first, I don't like her first impression, but I think she really got over that first impression and is starting to like dig her heels in, and it's really interesting to see.
Right. She strikes me as one of those people that's like a little bit of an acquired taste, if you know what I mean, where like maybe the first few times you meet them, you're like, this person's really rubbing me the wrong way. But then you kind of like learn to love them as you go along. And like, I think she's like one of those people, once you like understand them and like understand where they're coming from, they're like easier to get along with, where, she's like controlling and a bit annoying, and like, with like not going in the pool, that's a bit weird, things like that. But, I think you can tell like with the way she like starts interacting with people in the very first day versus like by the end of the first week, she's come like a super long way.
Yes.
And like also she was holding a cat in her initial like video intro. So and initially I was like, that's a plus for you, but I'm still not sold. But now she's kind of like slowly coming around. So I think of her kind of as like being like a little bit like a cat, where they're like not sure about you at first, and like they're like not always the nicest to strangers, but then like once you get to know them, they're like in your court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nicole works. She's a personal chef, I think was her job title, and I'm also a chef, so I feel like I get Nicole because I work with people like this all the time that have just these like big, like unashamed personalities, and those are often like rewarded in this type of industry, like the aggression. Like cooking is a lot about like adrenaline and just being in the moment and like not questioning yourself.
Right.
And so I feel like I really get her. And I do feel like in the beginning, was kind of her just like displaying social anxiety. Like for her, social anxiety isn't like, like being quiet and timid and like kind of going into herself. That's her just trying to like win people over and be fun and like outgoing and like, oh, like I'm going to be the life of the party. And I do feel like she really like cooled it by the end of these 4 episodes.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
moving on, let's go to Justin since we brought him up already. What was your initial impression of Justin before the whole knife incident?
So initially he was like, "Oh, I'm from Jersey, like Newark where people get shot all the time." That was like his initial thing, and I was like that's a little bit aggressive. Also with like the part of his tooth was chipped off, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he just like fell and like chipped off his tooth and like couldn't afford to get it fixed, or if it was like I was thinking in the beginning, like this might be a violence related issue if he's just like missing one of his front teeth. That like seems weird to just like
Yeah.
it's not like it's rotting out of your mouth or anything, or like
Yeah.
like you clearly like fell and hit your face on the ground or like got in a fight.
Right.
So I
Actually,
was
comment
initially
on
like,
that.
this guy just seems aggressive.
Yeah,
What?
so I looked up. I was like scouring the Big Brother 2 Wikipedia page, and I did find out there was some controversy about both Justin and Mike having previous like criminal charges on their records before
Oh,
entering the house that production was aware of. And actually, Krista too had a criminal record that she lied about to producers before coming into the game.
Oh wow.
Justin's was like simple assault or something like that. I'm not familiar with
wow.
legal terms, and like 2 minor robberies. So.
Wow. Not
Yeah.
see, like I'm saying wow, but at the same time, not surprising.
And Mike Boogie's
No.
was like so boogie. It was like he videotaped like a Batman and Robin like before it was like supposed to come out to theaters or something. Like he like released like clips of the movie online. I don't know. I
I
think like Krista's was like battery like with an ex-boyfriend or something.
oh my God.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
Yeah. All
I don't.
which yeah,
right.
of course
Well,
like she didn't tell us about that one. But yeah, it's like Justin's was like not surprising, but
Right.
it's kind of seems a little bit negligent to put him on the show. But like even minor spoiler, like even in like modern season of Big Brother, like the Jersey guy is a staple archetype of Big Brother.
Yeah.
Like they always have like an obnoxious, like muscular Jersey bro.
Yeah, and it's funny too
like
because
Joey from The Circle.
Yes.
yes,
The girl from
yes.
The Circle. Yeah.
I find it funny too because like Newark is a very diverse area and it's it's a very multicultural area. A lot of people either move out from like getting like the gentrification in New York City and go right to Newark because it's a very accessible place to live. They also have a really good high school because Mark Zuckerberg famously like donated billions of dollars to build this high school. I went to it for a debate tournament. It is, I
Oh.
promise you, ridiculous. And that's not to say that everyone gets to go to this great school and it's perfect for them, but a lot of people do get to go to it and it's an opportunity to get out of this place. And I did my own Google real quick of Justin after he got booted, and it turns out he has a very normal family. He looks like once we're done with the season, I implore you, Cassie, to look him up. It is
Yeah.
insane. Luckily, there's obviously no spoilers because I just looked up Justin Sebek. He just looks nothing like he looks like here. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
He's the youngest person on the cast. I was curious about their ages. He's 26. Like 7 of these people are between the ages of 28 and 31. And then there's like, maybe 4 people that are over that age, but he was the youngest at 26. So maybe he just like he didn't have his life quite together at the age of 26, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
times. Different
Yeah.
times, I guess. Even though it's
Okay.
20 years ago.
Let's move on to what did you guys think of Krista?
So Krista was the only one. So like when they initially like showed their little videos of them like getting their Big Brother keys, she was the only one who I like somehow missed and like didn't write down, which I think like is kind of indicative of how she was for, these first few episodes. Like she's a waitress. She like kind of stood in the background a little bit, which I predict like will help her out. Like she seems like she has good social bonds with people. And like she'll be able to like connect with people, but definitely not one of the ones that's like out in the open quite yet where you're like really noticing them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And she seems like a very I don't really remember her video either, but she does seem like a very physical person, in the sense of like being able to win comps if there's physical comps. Whereas some people do seem a little smarter, and they might like Dr. Will might be good at winning those types of mental challenges. Not saying Krista's dumb. I'm just saying she seems like someone who does have like that frame that if she was on Survivor, you could see her winning like a lot of individual immunity challenges. So I could see her winning a couple, and I definitely predicted that. Just because she seems like someone who is just fit. And personality-wise, I think this is are actually a really good strategy. I don't know if it would work in modern Big Brother. I don't really know where the show goes from here necessarily. Even though I've seen 21, a jump from 2 to 21 is not a good jump to make. It definitely progresses slowly. But for this season, it's definitely a good idea to maybe lay low a little bit, get a little further in the game, and just build up your social bonds. And she's taking her time to do that and be very calculated, which I appreciate.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and she's young, so she connects with the young people, but she also has an 11-year-old at home,
Yes.
so she's 28 years old with an 11-year-old. So I think she kind of like can straddle that line with like connecting with the people that are a little bit older and have kids, but also she's still 28 and like still seems like fun and like she can connect with the younger crowd too. So I think like just where she comes from probably like positively impacts like how she can connect with everybody else.
I agree.
Yeah, I would say that she was one of the people who seems most in the middle. And I don't want to go too much into the strategy of the episodes yet, but I do feel like she really does get along with everybody. And I think that, something we see so often in Survivor is like the archetype of the good old boy or somebody who has like a Southern accent being underestimated in terms of their intelligence. And I think she has that going for her. And yeah, my biggest surprise with Krista watching these episodes back is just how strategic she actually was. I feel like she was one of the people that I was most impressed with in these first 4 episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's move on to Will. What do you guys think of Will?
I think he's, first of all, very hot. Second of all, I think Dr. Will could do very well in this season or very poorly. I erred on the side of very well because the two characters
interesting.
the two characters out of this, I'm like afraid to look at Luke because he knows my decisions on who I picked as winners and losers. But Dr. Will, this is like a not soft spoiler, but he comes into the Big Brother house for 21 and talks to the jury. I don't know if that's a forever thing or if it's just like he does that every once in a while or they bring back a different returning player. I don't know what that means to me, and I know him and Boogie are actual characters because I've seen Mike Boogie on Twitter. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if he wins, but I could see him either going out next and then coming back for like a second chance season if they do that, or All Stars or something.
Yeah.
And doing well there and making a name for himself. Or I could see him straight up winning this season because I don't know what it is about him. I would be drawn to him. But I'm curious to see what you think, Kassie, because I have strong feelings in a good way. I want to see if it's the other way.
I'm like repulsed by Will.
Oh my God, really?
Like how negatively I feel about Will.
Really?
Yeah, I have him going out next, first of all.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Pat hasn't him win, so it's really did put him at opposite spots.
Oh my God. So I think part of it, so I'm a nurse, right? And I'm also like a nurse midwife. Like I'm around like a lot of medical providers all day, and he just like I like totally see him as being like one of those asshole doctors that thinks he's like the hottest shit and like is just like so rude to nurses. I like really made me uncomfortable the way that he's talking about patients. Like he's like a radiologist, like he basically like does radiation on people, like a radiation oncologist, but then was like talking like shit towards patients and all these people have like cancer. Like I don't know, he's like fucked up. And then just how much he was like grooming himself. I'm like, dude, I don't even groom myself this much like in real life. Like I don't know. Like I understand you have time on your hands, but I think because I don't know. I think because I've interacted with a lot of these people that like are young like residents that like think they're hot shit. I just like have no tolerance for it as a nurse. I'm like, sit the fuck down. Like you're really annoying and you're not that great. So yeah, I have him. I mean, I think like that spoiler that you just said that he like comes back and talks to the jury, I think probably means that I'm wrong that he does not go out next. But he like, yeah, he repulsed me. That's all. That's all.
I appreciate that opinion too, and I think it's very important to realize because like we're in our mid-20s and people that are also in their mid-20s can be doing their residency. So even though you might be like a midwife and have a full ass degree, undergrad and grad, and you're doing this whole thing, they might think they're hot shit. No offense, because especially right now, everyone's hauling ass in the medical community.
Right.
But I can value that opinion. I think we think that way, but in 2002, 3,
right.
I wonder if people think that way because to me, what I'm seeing in the house is like a bunch of people that look like him. First of all, a bunch of white men, and then not that much, which is not the race part, but just like the young white dude. There's also Kent, who he converses with. So I'm curious because I agree. I could see it going either way. I just gave him that winner upside because I don't know. There's just something about him that I'm like, you win.
Yeah. I think, like, I had a similar thing to you where I was like, I think if he could get past the next couple rounds and like cool his jets a little bit, I could see him going far because he is like a smart guy. He seems like somewhat likable when he like turns it on, but I don't know. And also just the way he was like super aggressive with like Shannon. I was like, this is a lot for me. I don't know. Just I think being Yeah, I just could see him coming in and being like, I know exactly what to do, even though I just got here yesterday and you've been here 5 years. Like,
True.
I don't
True.
know. Yeah, I think because of that, I think like my biases in my personal life and like my job really like came out here. Just the way he was talking to Shannon and the way he was talking about patience, I was like, cut. Don't like
No,
it.
I totally get where Cassie is coming from. She
Yeah.
like Dr. Will, I remember in his intro package, he said, by day 5, I'm going to have a girl doing my laundry. Like, he just comes in so confident that he is just like heads and shoulders above everybody else in terms of like, he knows what he's doing and everybody else is an idiot and he's so good looking. And just so you guys know, this is totally fitting. You know, he does work in the medical field, but he's like an aesthetic dermatologist. Like, that's obviously what he does now. Like, that's not
Like
surprising.
plastic surgeon? Is that what that is?
Like plastic surgery. He like has been a pioneer in like tattoo removal. But yeah, he does like a lot of like aesthetic stuff. Like
aesthetic dermatology is like a lot of like Botox.
Yeah,
and, like
he mainly does like face
injections.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm curious because I watched 21 when it was live, so I forget what he looks like now. This is a complete aside. I wonder if he has a lot of plastic surgery. That's just
absolutely. He does. No,
Yeah.
he has a ton.
I can't wait to like.
I'm pretty sure even in this one of these series of episodes, he talks about like needing Botox or something.
Yeah, he does.
It's like,
He's
dude, you're like
worried
28.
about his wrinkles and started using somebody else's like moisturizer or something.
Yeah.
He's like worried about his wrinkles. Yeah, stuff like that. I'm like, you are just the most.
Yes.
We can move
think,
on from Dr. Will, but I'm curious to see where he goes this season. I had him going out next. Probably wishful thinking, but yeah, I'm just like done seeing his face, but I'll probably see it a lot more.
I value that though. Like I value that because I don't even I understand. Like I recognize like a lot of his privilege he exudes and a lot of the things he's saying are definitely you're like watching. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, he's a dick, but I don't know why. Everyone's just listening to him.
Yeah. I think people are blinded by the hottest.
Which that's the first thing I said.
So,
Well, I mean, we say that people are listening to him, but like Cheryl gets evicted. So, I mean, obviously he thought he was doing way better than he actually was. And we haven't really seen the fallout of that yet, but you know, we will see exactly, you know, what like Mike and Will's thoughts were in the next episode.
Right.
Totally. So let's move on to Autumn.
We see quite a bit of Autumn, but not necessarily in strategy talks from what I've seen. My first, not at all, by the way. Like I said it in a very nice way, as if she's watching this. But I find, hey, Autumn Daily. But no, I think she, to me, is very entertaining, but at times could be a lot. I had her going out next. Like I had her going out in that Dr. Will 10th place because that coveted, you know, Dr. Will spot. Because I don't know, I just think she has like a weird way of talking to people that I'm like, you kind of come off as abrasive, and I don't know if I like that, you know?
Yeah, she's very. So I the first thing she said in her intro package was, "I'm only good when I'm bad." That was literally the first thing she said on the season. I just want to like draw back the focus to that. And just the whole time, you can tell she's like, I don't know if it like, I get the sense that it might come from a place of like insecurity, but she just like comes across as very insecure and like immature to me, where like she's just like constantly looking for like that affirmation from people, which like I can totally, you know, relate to as like a fellow human. But I think in the Big Brother house, I think like you could tell it was starting to like rub people the wrong way a little bit, and like she was really coming on strong with a couple of the guys too. I have her going out soon too. I don't recall, like I'd have to look at my list, but I have her
going out like the after Dr. Will. You have like Dr. Will 10th and Autumn 9th.
Right. So we're in similar trains of thought. I don't think she's gonna last long because I don't think she's a huge strategic player, and I also think like quality of life wise in the house, I think she's just like rubbing people the wrong way, and I could see her like, as per the Brant Steele that we did a couple weeks ago, like having a big breakdown or meltdown, whatever those words were. Like I could see that happening to her relatively soon, and it like causing some fireworks.
Major meltdown with the lasting impact. That's gonna be awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel like most of the Autumn content that we got was people saying that she's insecure and that she's like needy for male attention. I did look up like where Autumn Daily is today, and she is part of like a wedding group, like a wedding band, like people hired out to liven up their wedding.
Interesting.
But yeah, I do feel like her expectation was like, oh man, like I'm a single mom, like I'm gonna come in here and be like young and fun, and, like get it on with the guys, and that like was just not the reality of the situation. Like there's only 12 people, like there's only so many options you can like hook up with.
Yeah.
Right.
They're just not that into you.
Not one of them. Two of the guys not on the market for women in general. So
yeah, they're both married. So yeah, okay. So let's move on from Autumn. She's not that fun to talk about. Let's move on to Mike Boogie Malin. What do you guys think of Mike Boogie?
I think we're also gonna have differing opinions here, but I find Mike Boogie to be very entertaining. And I just think his character. Okay. His character is like really cool to me, and I find that like not cool in the sense that like, oh, I want to be his friend, but I'm just like, you're so entertaining, and just like I would want you to be around for just like getting me through these 3 months of like doing nothing.
Right. I have mixed feelings about him. On one hand, he is entertaining and seems like he's the life of the party. I mean, he's a bar owner, right? Like, I feel like he kind of fits what I would expect if I was like a bar owner in LA. Yeah, okay, it's this dude.
Yes.
I literally wrote down in my notes, he's the most annoying member of the Rat Pack, which like I think that was a little bit premature because I now find Will to be the most annoying. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough. He like tried to make this big strategy move this round, and like it didn't really pan out his way. So it'll be interesting. I think he's like one of those people where if he can get on for like the next few episodes, perhaps he can go a bit further. I think I have him going out like 7th or something. I don't have him going that far, but I don't know. Like I could totally see him making a recovery because he does seem like somewhat likable.
Wait,
but
one
I was
sec.
just like, quit
I'm sure jump
rapping,
off real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Mike Boogie is like the person who makes me most like physically cringe. Like every time that he does like a little rap in the diary room or for the other house guests, I'm just like physically just like covering my face. It's like, oh, this is so gross. But yeah, like the basketball shorts that are like down to his ankles and like the backwards cap. And I think at one point Nicole calls him like the real Slim Shady or something. And I'm just like, that is very accurate. So
I also wrote down, I literally was like, you know those I said like his visor and his hair like with the frosted tips looks like you've seen those visors that have like the hair, like the fake hair on top, like the kind of like joke visors, where it's like the joke visors with like the frosted hair on top. It looks like he's constantly like wearing one. Like I don't know, like especially in the intro, he's like wearing a visor with the frosted tips on top, and I was like, it looks fake. It looks like he has one of those like ridiculous caps on.
Yeah, no, he is a ridiculous person.
Yeah, I kind of regret saying cool, but I find cool to be in the sense of like his character is just like unique. Like we see guys like him on Survivor. I don't want to say Johnny Fairplay because Johnny Fairplay's a little more erratic, at least from what we've seen so far of Mike, but definitely like it's just like I've never met anyone like him.
I wouldn't want to.
And I wouldn't want to say it. I wouldn't want to. Like it's just like I want him to stay on Big Brother and entertain me from afar.
Right. I just don't know. Like, I think he could go one way or another within the other housemates because I think on one hand, like, yeah, he's like entertaining to us. It's probably entertaining to them sometimes, but I imagine other times, like if I was in the Big Brother house, I would just be like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want to hear your raps anymore. Like, stop.
Yeah, those raps are just so bad.
I'm the same way as you, Luke, where I'm just like, can we stop? Like,
yeah. Okay, let's move on to Monica. What do you guys think of Monica?
I love Monica.
I was going to say, I feel like we don't get a crazy amount of content from her, but I just love what we get from her.
Yeah, I feel like she was probably like the least edited person in this first 4 episodes. She doesn't feel like she really fits into either group. She ends up being one of the people to vote out Nicole, but she's not necessarily in that like Chilltown, Rat Pack group.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, she kind of did that just because it was like she just didn't like Nicole. I got the sense like I feel like for her the vote wasn't really like very strategic. But
right.
Yeah, I mean Monica seems from what we obviously I've seen the whole thing, but even from this short bit that we've seen her, she does seem like another strong personality. So it definitely would make sense why her and Nicole would maybe butt heads because they're both kind of these strong, opinionated women. But do you guys have any thoughts on Monica?
I feel like out of most of the people in the house, if I was like gonna be friends with somebody, like I could like see myself being friends with Monica because she seems like pretty funny and like goofy, but like also very serious and like a strong woman figure. Like her job is working with people, like through the welfare office, it sounded like, and like helping them, like be on their own. So I like really find that commendable. She's like from Brooklyn, which is cool. I don't know. I think she's like a cool gal, would like
her
to
official
hang out with
job
her.
title is candy store manager, but she also does like the empowerment thing also.
Right. I did write that down later on where I was like, candy store manager. Where did that come from?
What's going on with that? I put
Yeah.
her going very deep in the game. Like I
Me
had her
too.
going in like 4th place because I thought she would be too much of a threat to take towards the end. I don't know if they do final 3 or 2 in Big Brother, especially this
It's
early.
the final 2.
Final 2. So yeah, I could see her going out like right before then. Again, another person I see as being pretty fit physically and of course mentally even. She seems mentally strong, but also like mentally like smart and with it. So I think that's going to be a huge threat and someone might take her out right before the end.
Yeah, Monica is like on the upper end of the age, so she's 40. The only other people older than her are Kent, who's 46, Cheryl, who is 43.
Kent only 46.
He seems like he's 80.
Oh yeah. So she's the
old.
3rd oldest person, and then like Bunky is 36, and there's like a big drop to 31. Is like the next. There's several people who are like 31 and 30. Right. But yeah, we don't have too much on Monica yet, so let's go on to Hardy.
I think Hardy, I find very attractive. Like, I don't know. Like, I think he's the most attractive guy in the house. But honestly, we haven't seen too much more other than he does seem to have a good connection with Nicole. Like, he seems like an actually, like, nice guy. Like, I feel like he's very attractive, but which I think just generally, like, works well for you in life. Like, I think people are more likely to, like, be your friend. Like, I don't know. I just think it's, like, unfortunate, but I think it's, like, the reality of
it's facts.
the world we live in. And so I think that helps him, but I think he seems pretty low key. He doesn't seem like he's super like abrasive, which I think is going to serve him well. Like we mostly just got shots of him working out, which I wasn't like complaining about, but also I was like, is there more to you? I think the fact that he connected so well with Nicole seemed to indicate that there was more that we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I feel like based just like if you were to look at the cast photos, you would kind of slot him in with like Shannon, who's obviously super fit, Will, who is, kind of a pretty boy, and he does not fit in with those guys at all. Like he's very much like he comes off as like very soft spoken and humble and like way more mature than like Will and Boogie.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting that he seems to fit in with like Nicole, who is more of like the outsider, like underdog type person.
Mm-hmm.
And he just seems to be more in tune with himself. And I think if we were further along in the show, he would be someone that I would guess would come back or maybe would go to Survivor if they did do like how they did with Hayden. But he just seems like a nice dude. And I feel like he would do well on any reality competition because he just seems like he has a good social game first. And he's also very muscular. So I'm sure if there's a really big strength competition, he'll do well. But I just found myself being like drawn to Hardy. I guess like if Will is like this evil hot man, I guess Hardy is like the nice hot man, and it's like it's nice to have that flip of a coin and be like, well, which one do we get?
Right.
So I could also
it reminded me a little bit of Ken from Survivor. Like
yes.
like Ken with him being like, like Ken doll or whatever, and being like this big, like super attractive, hunky looking guy. But then he's like, talking to David Wright, he's like, I've always been like really insecure and like I hate that nickname. Like I just don't feel like that fits me. And I can kind of see like Hardy being in like that same vein a little bit where he's like, this really attractive dude, but like is kind of, he seems like very humble about it, which is cool versus Mike being like, I'm the hottest dude here. Sorry, not Mike. I keep saying
Will
Mike because Dr. Mike, but it's Dr. Will.
Right.
Mike, yeah.
Gotcha.
Mike is confusing. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go to Shannon, who we mentioned briefly. What do you think about Shannon?
I think Shannon, if I wasn't going to choose Will to win, I would choose Shannon because I don't know what it is about her. She just seems like a very there's definitely more independent woman outside of the house. Like Monica has to deal with so much and goes through so much. And there's definitely Krista goes through some similar things in the house, but Shannon just seems, even though she is in I don't want to say in Will's back pocket. I want to say that Will is in her back pocket as of right now. Don't know where that progresses to, but Shannon is saying like, hey, Will, like you are this hot guy. Let me just flirt with you for the whole entire first fucking week of the show or however long that is in the game.
Yeah.
To me, that's badass. And this is pre Black Widow's Brigade and Survivor. I don't know if they have a similar thing in Big Brother, but she is doing things that we see 16 seasons into a reality show, Survivor. That's, they kind of go hand in hand, and we're just seeing Shannon do it on basically the first week of the real Big Brother. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I have like a very similar feeling about her. I think she's very likable. You know, she's like associated herself with these two guys that, you know, I think are right now like enemies of the house a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like she can recover more so. Like I trust her to recover more so than the two guys. But she did say like, I mean, with like that she tends to get along with guys more. You know, isn't she's like the triathlete, so like an exotic dancer? Is that
I don't remember if she said exotic dancer, and she listed like 4 things that she does. I know that she's
yeah?
like her official occupation is realtor, but she had like a few other things that she listed. I
Who
don't
was
remember
it
them
that
all.
was the dancer? Is that I feel like it was Shannon. I like,
I don't
Someone said it.
remember. Okay, I
or
don't
maybe
remember.
was that season one? I might be getting confused. There's
I
a
I don't
decent chance
remember
it was
anybody
season.
being an exotic dancer, but
It's
you maybe.
season one then. That's okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah.
Like I said, I watched a few episodes of season one and then like watched this. But no, Shannon and I like get the sense that she's kind of this like jockey, sort of like bro-y
Yeah,
gal. And so
no,
I
she's
think like
definitely
kind
yeah.
of fits in with the guys.
Hmm.
Yeah, she even says, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's the one that says she has masculine energy. Like she does
Yeah.
come off as like she has like the confidence of a man, which I really appreciate.
Right.
Like she is so forward. I don't, it's hard to know how much of her and Will's relationship is strategy on her part, but she definitely does not like he is the one that is like drooling over her, whereas she is the one
Yeah.
who's like, I can be into it, but maybe not. Like it's
Yeah.
Right.
for her, it's she has enough self control to not do it if she doesn't feel like it. Whereas Will is kind of just like
Yeah.
chomping at the bit to like get a piece of Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean she is
There's
just
this
like a superwoman. Like she is so confident.
Yep.
totally.
She is just like, I wake up and I decide what I want to do for my job today. Like I can do whatever I
Right.
want. She's super empowered.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Will in this episode around Shannon reminded me of there's this new Netflix show called Too Hot to Handle where it's like a bunch of these like
Yes.
yeah, like super horny people that like can't hook up or like kiss or anything. And like Will reminds me of like one of those people where he's like drooling over her and like can't keep it in his pants. But
Seriously.
Shannon keeps it on lock. She's like got him wrapped around her finger. It's like
Yes.
really quite funny. I appreciate it being a avid Will hater. So
I could like that's like seeing her like I think one of my favorite things of this first week is seeing like that one scene. I don't know if it's in the kitchen or in a closet or something, but where she's just making intense eye contact with him and just won't kiss him. I was
yeah,
like, this is iconic. She's just
I
doing
know.
it on
I
live
know.
reality TV or like
I love it.
but it's amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
and then Will being like the asshole that he is like, every girl at home watching this right now is like, just kiss him. And I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah, and Will said that he's
Can't
never
attest.
initiated a first kiss before. The girls always kissed him. I'm just like,
That's also
I
like a
don't know.
weird
You
flex.
must really be dating down then. Like that's all that tells me is that you like
Yeah.
purposefully date down.
Right.
I'm like, Shannon is not that.
No, she's
No,
not
so,
going to do that.
yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Bunky.
I love Bunky.
Okay.
I really love Bunky. I just think he's so nice, and it seems like he's really likable, you know, like around the house guests. And I felt so bad for him in the first episode, how he
Yeah.
said he was married, and everybody just, you know, like naturally assumes that it's, you know, like a woman that he's married to. I mean, this we said it was filmed in like 2002, 2003.
2001.
2001. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think like it's easy for us to forget like how much things have changed in like just in general with like acceptance of LGBTQ people. And like I just feel like it's so tough that he had to, after being like out of the closet in like his real life and like being married to a man and everything, having to like backtrack and be like hiding such a big part of who he was. And then Kent was being like saying just like a ton of like really like
Yeah.
not okay things to him. I just like really felt for him, but I really admired the way that he handled it and like kept it together and kind of came to out to people slowly and who he felt comfortable with, and like eventually like came out to Kent. And like Kent was being like pretty aggressive with the questioning that he gave him, but I feel like he like Bunky handled it really well. And I just really like I really admired him, and I think he's like just generally a nice person and is like a good social player as well.
And I was gonna say, throughout all of this too, like I really valued the way Bunky handles himself. He didn't like it sucks because like he puts a lot of pressure on him to like put on a good face for like queer people everywhere. But then it's
Totally.
also like it's dope because like throughout this all, Bunky is just making a huge plan to get Cheryl out. He's just
Totally.
like okay, he's like okay, yeah, I know I just basically got out on national television. Great. How are you gonna get
Right.
Cheryl out? Like that's
Yeah.
insane to me that throughout this all he can hold it together, and it shows that like, unfortunately Game Changers had a huge like Varner moment and that was in like 2015, 2016. This is 15 years earlier and they handled it like adults. And
Yeah.
yes, like Kent was a dick in the beginning and I don't really know if I can bounce back and be like, if he's in the end, I want him to win. But I'm
Right.
happy that it got Bunky to be himself in the house as much as he felt safe to be, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I was 5 years old in 2001, so I have like absolutely no frame of reference for like LGBT issues in that time. And I also, Micah Boogie's wardrobe is also just a reminder that it's 2001, and I have no idea if that kind of clothing was acceptable because he looks ridiculous.
It was.
But anyways, yeah, that being said, yeah, Boogie's story is just like so unique. And, we did see, they would have already seen Richard Hatch win Survivor at this point.
Sure.
So for Ken to like come on this show and like be so aggressive in his, thinking that like homosexuality is super perverse and like he is so abnormal and like he's so against it.
Yeah.
Like
the weirdos and the
it's
freaks.
a bit surprising to me because, reality TV was already like kind of putting on gay people on reality shows. And so they definitely cast for conflicts. You always see in those intro videos, like you'll see one person be like, hey, I'm Bunky and I'm super gay. And you'll see Ken and be like, I hate gay people.
Yeah.
You see that with tons of different things. If like in later seasons, you'll see, oh man, I hate those religious nutcases. And then you'll see somebody like packing their Bible in their suitcase.
Right.
Brother, obviously, in those videos cast for conflict.
Right.
I just don't know. It is a little bit cringy to see this particular conflict because it's just so, it's hard to see Bunky have that experience like when Ken is talking to him.
Right.
Ken knows that he's gay. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's just generally like in 2001. So like I grew up in like California, but I grew up in a very conservative area, and like my next door neighbor came out when she was in high school, and I was like, it was probably around this time, like I was maybe like 7 or 8 or something, and like her parents literally kicked her out of the house, like threw all of her stuff on the front lawn and like kicked her out. Like my sister's gay, and like my parents even now, like she just came out to them like a year or so ago, and like my parents did not respond well. Like it's unfortunate that things like that still exist, and I'm sure Kent like probably doesn't interact with a lot of queer people in his daily life.
I mean, Ken is from Tennessee. I was looking up, where people are from, and Tennessee is Bible Belt area. So
it's just tough because when you're going on reality television, like it showed to me that Kent doesn't really have a lot of great like self-awareness, where when he literally said like within these episodes, like, oh, when I first saw you, I like thought that you were gay, and was going to apologize for thinking that, which also is problematic, but whatever.
Right.
But the fact that he like thought that he was gay, like when he first saw him, and then proceeded to then go around and like say that like people that are gay are like weirdos and freaks. It just like have some self-awareness and self-control, Ken. Like I don't know. It just like really, I don't know. But I love Bunky. Big Bunky stan at this point.
Yeah, Bunky is such a sweet man. He's so kind-hearted, so like soft-spoken and timid, and such a sweetheart.
And he like showed a picture of his husband and his dogs, and I was like,
yeah,
it's a dream.
Your best wife friend, you go.
Any other thoughts on Bunky, Pat?
I really love him as a person. I was gonna say, in the beginning, my hesitation was because I really like his game move, but it scares me that might get him out. But I hope it doesn't. And I guess more of my feeling, any negative feeling I have about Bunky is related to Kent because I just have such a visceral reaction to the way Kent reacted towards him. So that's why I'm just like, that's the only negativity I have anywhere near Bunky. Otherwise, I really think he's a great dude. I think he handled everything superbly, and I'm excited to see where he goes. I had him in the middle of the pack, which we'll get into, because I just see him as a threat. I see him as someone that is really personable and really funny, and I hope he comes back in a future season.
Yeah, we've already talked about Kent so much, so we might as well just like, if you have any more thoughts on Kent, please go ahead.
Throw him out. I'm sorry. I get mad because I'm not religious, but like I feel bad because if people are religious, this gives a bad representation of someone who is Catholic or Christian or any insert like religion there. And for 2001 to have them put on someone who I guess is religious but have such disgusting views about people that are on the season with him, it just hurts. And it hurts because like you're such a stereotype of the negative parts of religion. And I'm not even religious. I grew up in a religious household, and my parents are religious. But like it just hurts. It hurts to see that. That's how he really is. And that was like day 2, bro. You're showing like this is like a mask you're putting on. The mask should be hiding these problematic things, and he doesn't think it's problematic. So,
right. Right. It's not like Rudy in season 1, like we were just talking about Richard Hatch. Like
yes.
Rudy was like, yeah, I think coming into this, don't think I would have been friends with a gay guy, but here I am, like don't agree with his lifestyle, which like he's like an old dude. I feel like this is like the best you can ask for, I guess, out of Rudy. But like I don't know, it was like very different than, I feel like I was comparing that a little bit in my head, and that's with like Richard Hatch, who is like an obnoxious asshole, versus like Bunky's like the soft-spoken nice guy. It's like very, I don't know. That's all. Don't like Ken.
Yeah.
But
I could talk about my love of Rudy Bosch for hours, so I won't even go there. What I will say for Ken is that he came out so strong, being like so anti-gay when he talked to Bunky, like when he didn't know the Bunky was gay. But I will say when they had that conversation, just the two of them, he did like give Bunky a hug at the end. So I guess
true.
I know it's like a low bar to clear, but like he did.
He also was like I appreciate your bravery.
With Bunky, like at the end when he kind of like. That whole kind of thing blew up, or like Bunky told me he was gay. I do feel like Kent responded well, like in the very end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what was obnoxious for me about that part was, Kent had been very like anti-gay up to that point, and then he's like, "Oh well, Bunky, why didn't you just tell me you were gay? Why'd you have to lie about having a wife?" It's like, because you told him that you think gays are like abnormal and perverse and terrible. It's like, of course,
monsters.
Like
it reminded me vaguely of like when God, I forget his name, but like when Zeke was outed on national television, and he was basically, I forget the name of the guy that he was outed by, but it was basically
Varner.
Varner was like, you can't trust him because he's like not everything, and it's like, no, like that's people's right to tell you, like I don't know. It like had a lot of reminders of that, and I was just like, stop it with the Inquisition. Like you don't need to. Like that's how my parents were when my sister came out, where they were like, "How do you know? Why do you know this?" And that like is really abrasive, rather than being like, "We, like it's fine. Like we love you no matter what." And then maybe asking those questions down the line if you just like are genuinely curious and you feel like comfortable with that person. But like, I just met you 2 days ago, dude. You don't need to ask me all these questions about like my sexuality.
And who I'm sleeping with or who I'm interested in. It's such like a perverse question, and he's calling queer people perverse, but it's like you're asking who they're in bed with, basically. So chill a little bit. And it does remind me, and that was kind of my point before. I was like, I'm glad this didn't turn ugly, because that could have really been a detriment to the show, and we wouldn't have 20 more seasons of it, assumably. And there's other, and Luke mentioned it before, there's other shows that like The Real World casted someone who was HIV positive because they were gay in the mid 90s, and they also casted someone who was like homophobic on the same season, and it's like a really, really iconic moment of them coming together and being like, wow, I'm so sorry, and the person with HIV ends up passing away. So it's like a really impactful thing that they can do on television. And so I agree, it was a low bar to clear, but Kent did clear it. At least he didn't trip over.
And like that dialogue, like I do feel like it was good dialogue. Like Kent was like, "Oh, like how long have you known?" And like, "How did you know?" And et cetera, et cetera. And Bunky was saying like, obviously he grew up religious and was saying that he tried to pray the gay way, basically.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like Kent. I just don't think that Kent probably had never met somebody that was gay, or like had never met like a quote unquote like a normal gay person that like he could just like relate to and have a good conversation with. Yeah. So I do think Kent probably, made it a big stride in that conversation. And just a little side note is that
the rest of like yours too.
I was gonna say Ken has actually passed away now. Just so you guys are both aware. So Ken is no longer with us. I think he passed away like within the past 2 years.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what the circumstances were.
Oh man. Okay. Damn.
I feel bad for like talking so
no, I mean,
him, but
no, and I feel like he has like more redeeming qualities, like as you'll like see in the next set of episodes. Okay. So lastly, we have Cheryl. So what do you think about Cheryl, the hot mom?
Definitely a hot mom. I didn't have like any opinion either way. I thought she was just a sweet lady.
Yeah.
Genuinely. Just genuinely sweet, very nice, can really, like, with probably a danger in this game, probably good they got her out so early, because Cheryl could definitely identify with the young people in the house, and it shows that, like, that ageist thing of getting out the old lady first, it should have been defunct before, because she is powerful.
Yeah, agreed. I think she was, like, a great player, and I think, if she had survived this vote, I think she had the opportunity to go like very far. She like towed this line of being like the motherly figure, but also like all of the guys just thought she was like super hot. So
Yes.
like that
Yeah.
doesn't hurt you either. So I think she like kind of towed these lines that was like they were beneficial for her game for sure.
Yeah, I like how she was always afraid of like, oh, what's my 17-year-old son gonna think? But then she was like in the hot tub, like playing like the strawberries and whip cream game, and it's like,
Yeah.
do you
But, like,
really
she
care
did
that much what your
all
son
her
thinks?
moves, I don't
Like,
think I saw where I was like, you
I
go,
can't.
girl. Just go for it.
Do your thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like Cheryl. She's I want to say that she's a sweet lady, but she was also like pretty spicy. Like she was like not afraid to get in there and like
Yeah.
have fun with these young guys. And
Yeah.
you know, she even admitted she's like, yeah, I've always like wanted to try stuff out with a young guy, but what would my son think? And it's like, well, now you're on Big Brother, so
Yeah, let's
whatever
chill.
your son thinks is like out the window. Like he's gonna see all of this. Like he definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another fun fact. What do you guys predict getting a season of live feeds? How much do you think it cost in 2001 to get a season of Big Brother live feeds?
You can get that? I didn't even know you can get that now. Like back then. Like you couldn't.
Yeah, no, Big Brother live feeds were a thing from the beginning.
Oh shit. Okay.
You can watch 24/7. It's all access.
Can we
Whoa.
have that with Survivor?
Yeah.
Uh,
So. Or like
yeah.
anyway.
Well, that's what I
What?
love about Big Brother versus Survivor is like with Survivor, I can't help but read into the edit, but with Big Brother, it's happening live. So like, there's no, agenda to the editing. Like, Will said at some point, like, Shannon's definitely going to make top 3. She's definitely a threat in this game. And it's like, if this was an edited like show like Survivor where they already knew the outcome, I'd be like reading into that so much and like, oh man, does that mean Shannon's making top 3?
Right.
Yeah.
But I just love that, like, you can't read too much into the edit because they don't know what's going to happen either. But yeah, anyways, what do you guys think season of live feeds goes for in 2001?
$100. The whole thing.
I'd say more than that. I'd say like maybe 200 to 300.
1995.
Wow.
Whoa. The whole thing?
Yeah, watching live feeds. Yeah,
Wait, not a month. Just like.
no, for a season. It was $9.95 a month, but it was like $19.95 for a whole season. But I mean, now it's even cheaper. Like you get it's included with like the CBS All Access thing, which you can get for either like $7 a month or $10 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, I actually thought $19.95 was expensive, so I'm surprised you guys guessed so high.
I said
Yeah.
100.
I said 300. I went higher than you.
I was like, do DVDs exist yet? I don't even know. Where am I
I
at?
think you like had to pay with a credit card to like ensure that you were old enough to watch like the particularly, there was sometimes nudity on. Yeah.
It could go one of either way, because if you're being this abrasive, someone might take you to the end because they know no one likes you.
Pool of oatmeal or dirt. People didn't know which one it was. Like either, like how do you not know if it's oatmeal or dirt?
It really cracks me up that Kent, like this homophobic dude, is constantly saying like, "Oh, I'm hooking up with Justin." Like he always says the words "hooking up." Or she like had scabies previously because of a hot tub, which like
Iconic.
that really stinks. I wrote down Will is very into his appearance. He was literally at one point brushing his eyebrows with a toothbrush.
Oh. I want to phone my friends. What do you... Like, he's not thinking that hard into it. He just deadass didn't think that $2 bills existed.